After the application got funding, I was the first ever remote employee that you will hired in application. And to be clear, the process does not even include a resume, not even include a formal interviews like this. So uh, I got that job.
Hi everyone, welcome to this new podcast episode. So in this episode, we just gonna talk with Saurav. So he's an community manager at a startup. So let's try to discuss all about open source, remote work, the remote work culture. So we'll just discuss all the things in this video. So yeah, welcome Saurav, welcome to this episode, and thanks for joining us here. And yeah, can you just explain more about yourself to the audience? Yeah, let's start with an intro. Yeah, cool. Go ahead.
Okay. First of all, thank you so much for inviting me to this podcast, Saman. For a fact, this is going to be my first ever video appearance in any public platform. So pardon me if I do something wrong. And thank you for giving me this opportunity. Coming to intro, hello everyone. I am Saurav Jain. I am from capital of India, New Delhi, and I am an open source fan and evangelist. I work at Amplication as a community manager, and I have been a technical content creator for more than a year. I write technical threads on Twitter, and I have a nice following over Twitter for over 32,000 followers and 6,000 on LinkedIn. So I have a degree of computer science as well. This is a quite little bit about me. We will discuss more further in video.
Yeah, for sure. And this is your first podcast. I wish this will be your first of many. So yeah.
Yeah, sure. I have started this, and I am looking forward to many podcasts in future.
Yeah, thank you for joining us here. How you just started your career, like, so how that overall journey looks like? So what's your background? So how you just get to this remote work? How you just started working at the company which you're just working? So what's the complete journey looks like? Can you just share that?
Okay, so I will start from my school time just to give you a little bit background and make the story interesting. So I was not a fan of chemistry and physics in my school life, and nor I was a fan of competitive exams like JEE, NEET, and I never prepared for that. Two things I loved from my childhood was mathematics and computers. And being from a government school, we do not have a chance to have a computer lab in our school or have a programming teacher in our school. So I left with the only option, mathematics, and I spent most of my time in school solving mathematics problem, solving aptitude, reasoning questions, and I love to do that. After that, I was not sure which engineering college I will get after my 12th because I never prepared for any competitive exam. I got but I was sure that I have to do computer engineering, and because from my childhood I was very fond of computers. I love to explore computers. I visited cyber cafes in my neighborhood, and I had a computer, very basic computer in my home on which I do things. So I loved computers, but I have never done programming till then. So I got a third year engineering college in my neighboring city, Haryana. It's a neighbor to Delhi, and I got a computer science stream there. Uh, so my first 1.5 year went into vain because I never touched programming in my life, and the faculty there was not interested to teach beginners like me. So I got stuck in the loop of syntax and learning programs. I was doing the syllabus of C, C++, Java, but I really did not learn anything in my first 1.5 year of my BTech degree. So eventually I got to know about Python, and that's where I think my turning point was. So Python was so easy to learn for me. Like I just loved Python. I had never to focus on the syntax. I was just learning the concepts through Python, and I was making my concepts crystal clear that time. And after learning basic programming, so I got a step ahead, and I deep dive into uh, machine learning. I deep dive into deep learning, AI, NLP, chatbot development, and I just loved that. I just loved that field at that time, and I I started making projects and writing research papers as well. So at that time, I wrote 2 research papers, and I created a face log algorithm with my team. And that research paper, I remember it was published in University of Iran. So it was an achievement for me that time. And after that, I did not stop. I just started exploring things. I got to know about word open source. It was very fancy word that time. It is till now. And I explored what's for me in machine learning for open source. So I got to know about. I just started learning first thing first. I started learning Git and GitHub that time. And after that, I got to know about TensorFlow, Linux, Manjaro Linux. So it was very fascinating for me, and I contributed to them. And after my contribution, I got selected as a mentor for Google Code in 2019. So it was the last edition of Google Coding. And after that, COVID happened, as you know. COVID happened, and everybody went online. So does I. I started I started learning Munstack. So I created many web applications that time. I created websites. I started doing freelancing in my college time. So I got some clients as well, and I do some paid gigs. And my friend Pratham from Twitter, he introduced me to the tech Twitter that time. And what I have learned in my past 4 years, I just started posting that thing on my Twitter in the form of threads, in form of code snippets, in form of anything like a simple post. So I got a really nice response, which I was not expecting at all. So people loved like what I have learned, what I have achieved in my last 4 years. And I got some really nice followers from there, and then I started exploring Twitter as well, like how Twitter can be aside with the things I'm doing. And I started making contents, and I love to do this. I love to help people on Twitter. I just share things what I have learned, and Twitter is a very good platform for making connections. There are core people from all over the world. So that's how I met the CEO of Amplication, Yuval, that time. We talked for the first time in June 2021. It was before even the Amplication got funding. So it was an unfunded project that time. It was an open source project, and he introduced to me. And I love the problem Amplication was solving, to be honest. I explored the project, and after exploring project, I did make some contributions. I was a heavy user of Amplication that time. I was using Amplication for all of my web applications. So I was obviously getting noticed by the team there. It was not a very big team. It was 2 or 3 members hardly, and mainly Yuval. So he noticed me, and I wrote a blog for them at that time. And the blog was, I remember the topic, how to make a markdown blog using Amplication. So it was a blog which got some 800 claps on Meetup on Medium. So it went quite a viral, and it got a really nice response. So you will obviously love it. Like I wrote a blog, it got a nice response, and it was all in July. So after in July, I wrote a blog, I shared it, I spread the word. From July to November, I was using Amplication. I was very active in their Discord for 3 months. So till October, I was very active in their Discord. I know every member of Amplication without even I was not a member of Amplication, but I know every member of the Amplication, every contributor. I was on their GitHub, I was there. Discord, I was spreading the word on Twitter. So I was acting as unofficial community manager already for Amplication before even joining. Meanwhile, luckily, not luckily, I will say, because of all the hard work you will put in October and October, November, Amplication got funding. And it was not a very hard decision for Yuval to hire me. So it was very clear. And after the application got funding, I was the first ever remote employee that you will hired in application. And uh, the process does, to be clear, the process does not even include a resume, not even include a formal interviews like this. So uh, I got that job like this.
Yeah, that's really cool, Saurav. Like you just explained it pretty amazingly. Like I just thought to ask all these questions uh, in the channel, but you just covered all the things at the beginning itself. That's really cool. And also, yeah, that's the benefit of open source and being active in communities and learning in public. Like no need of resumes, no need of
Yeah,
formal
your
hiring methods. Yeah.
yes. So your contributions to open source project act as an resume. It speaks for yourself. So I know many people's. I know many CEOs from I have talked to, and they tell me that how smooth the onboarding processes really are with the contributors of that open source project. For example, I will say that many of our full stack engineers, like in application, are previous contributors of application. So uh, open source projects always the CEO, the team always loves to have contributors in the team, because the everything is so easy with them. Like they know the project, they know the tech stack, they know everything about the company before even joining.
Yeah.
So that makes really a difference, and it's a good fit for everyone.
Yeah, that's really true, Saurav. And thanks for mentioning that as well. So, what's your work at Amplication? What's your day-to-day work? What you just do as a community manager? So, yeah, let's talk about that.
Okay, so as the name suggests, community manager, I manage the community of application, but it's not as simple as the name is. So it's a DevRel job basically. There is always three C's of in a DevRel job: code, content, and community. So a DevRel is someone who act as a bridge between code and the community, and helps everyone from the community to get used to use the product, and to help the company to know the feedback from the community. So this is a little bit, but I make I wherever the community of application is, I am there. I manage them. I am on Twitter. I make content on Twitter for application. I am I design processes. For example, if on application GitHub, there is a issue section. On every repository on GitHub, there is a issue section. But if it's an open source project, and if you are following the best practices of an open source project, you always have to address the issues opened by community in your open source project. So how to do it? I was a part of making the process for how to do that, for making the whole process, to address the issues, to giving them all the support they need. If someone is using application, getting some error or getting some problem, if someone is trying to contribute to application and getting some error or getting you need some support, I help them. And I also do technical writing, and the most fun part of my job, I always write on Twitter, is distributing swags. So if I distribute swag to the community on regular basis, I love to do that as well.
That's really cool. That's really cool, Saurav. And let's try to decode what is open source for the freshers who are just watching this video. So there are a lot of
Mm,
content available on like the
mm,
internet, like what is open source. There are a lot of videos as well. But even now, it's been a buzzword. Like even now, the people can't understand what is open source. So yeah, like how you can just explain to them in your way, like what is open source and how can this they can just start contributing to open source.
okay, so there are always two type of software there. One is closed source, other is open source. So closed source is a software for which you cannot access the source code of that. So if you are not able to access source code of any software, it is a closed source software. The company do not allows any one out of their company to view the source code or use that source code for themselves, or make modifications, or request them to change something or report some bug. So companies make it private to themselves. That is a closed source software. Other is open source software, which believes that their community is everything for them, and they make their source code open for everyone. So anyone from across the globe can access that code, can make change to that code, can report a bug, can make a feature request, can report a issue, whatever they think. So they are very open to any feedback, and that they believe that with the community they can make their product much better than making with only a team of 10, 15, 20, 100. So they open their source code to everyone. That's the main thing.
That's really something I'm just looking for. Like, I've just listened a lot of answers, but it's something unique. Thanks for mentioning that, Saurav. So yeah, that's really cool. Like, how can one start contributing to open source? So before that, let's try to understand how can they just find projects in their domain. For example, let's say I am one, I don't know about open source. Like I learned from you like what is open source now. That's cool. Now I just want to find projects. I am good at machine learning. I am good at Python, etc. So I just want to find projects on GitHub. So how can they just start doing that?
It's a very good question, and this is something which I got in my DMs on a very regular basis, actually. So first of all, I will recommend you to learn Git and GitHub. Don't go to directly finding projects. First, learn Git and GitHub. Start learning that. After you learn Git and GitHub, go there. There is an option on GitHub, Explore, in which GitHub has defined different topics over there, like machine learning, like Python, TensorFlow, OpenCV, etc., like this. So you can go to any of them and just find the relevant projects according to you, and you can just visit that project. You first never go directly to issues. Maybe you can go directly to issues, but it makes a lot more sense if you first use the product actually, and then make your contributions. So it will make you a lot familiar with what actually the product is and how it can be improved, and this will help you as well as the maintainer of project in getting the product better. So that contribution will make a lot more sense whenever you show it to someone, rather than just contributing for maybe a pixel fix, or maybe a something basic. But I will also recommend to start with a readme file fix and to go to a heavy feature request. So this is a journey like this. So first you make a readme correction in some open source project, then you fix a bug, then you use the product more and more, then you think that this can be improved, you make a feature request to them, then the feature request get accepted, then you work on that as well. So this is a journey how open source developer can contribute to open source. There is also a site called goodfirstissues.com, on which you can find a list of good issues on various projects for which you can contribute to the first time. And also at Amplication, I always focus to help the open source community and giving back to the open source community as much as I can. So we have designed a campaign specially focused for first time contributors. So we help you in every way we can. I personally assign someone from our engineering team to you to help you from the most basic get command to making the pull request, everything in between. And I create some list of 12, 15, 10 issues, which is very good for first timers, and anyone can solve that if they know the tech stack. And we also reward some really cool exclusive swag for that. So you can DM me anytime if you want to make your first contribution to open source. I will very happy to help you.
That's really cool, Zaro. And like anyone who are just watching this video, I'll just give the links for the Saurav handles in the below, and also Amplication Discord channel as well. So make sure to join there. Like they're just doing some amazing work. So you can just start learning like what is open source. You can just find a lot of resources, and you can just find guidance from them. So yeah, make sure to do that. I'll just give the links in the description. Do check them. And yeah, that's really cool, Saurav. Now let's try to discuss. Like we just able to find what is open source and how to find projects and how to start contributing, like starting with some non-code contributions. So let's talk about these non-code contributions more. So what are the different ways of non-code contributions? So yeah, like you just mentioned, changing some README, or let's say that's one part. So what are some other non-code contributions that a fresher, like a beginner, can do? Like, because it's very overwhelming to contribute to a huge project. It's
Exactly.
yeah.
I,
So
I, I totally got it. So non-code contributions are the contributions. So we heavily promote the non-code contributions as well, and it's something which I recommend all of you to do. And open source is not only the code contribution; it's more of collaboration. So just you can first of all be a user. This is something which I tell everyone: be a user of the project, and you if you are a user, you know how the product works and how it can be improved in many ways. If you are using a project for if you are using an open source tool, a dev tool for your project, web application, to, for example, creating a web application, and you got some errors during the project, you think that's the error. But if you are encountering an error and you are reporting it to the open source project, that will help the open source project to grow very rapidly. So this is a way: be a user, report bugs, make feature request, what you think are good for the project. Write a blog for the open source project. You have used that tool, you have made a project using that, just write a blog for them. So it will be very nice. For example, there are 10,000 users for an open source project. For example, just for example, you wrote a blog how to create a markdown blog using dash and dash, and that blog will help another 10,000 users to use that application and make a markdown blog. How awesome is that? You can
true,
help
true.
a huge user base just through a blog. So this is another thing. Blogs really helps a lot. Blogs, articles, videos, tutorials, anything which can help the community. Other than that, spread the word. That's the most basic thing you can do. You have used the project, just write on Twitter, your LinkedIn, or tell it to your friends that this is a very awesome project, and this is how and how you can do this. There are some, these are some ways. There are many ways to contribute without coding, actually.
Yeah. True, Saurav. And I really believe that like it's not about code, it's about collaboration that you just mentioned. That's true. Let's try to understand what are some best practices to follow when you're just contributing to any project. For example, let's say like it's easy to contribute. You just mentioned like any non-code contribution, even that. Like for example, let's say a small feature request, or let's say any bug fix, or let's say any change in a README file. So, what are the best practices that one should follow to start contribute? So, yeah, like right from reading that guidelines, so following that. So, what are the things that you can just recommend, since you are just doing it and recommending it for a lot of people? Yeah, definitely you might have known that. So, yes, can you just share that as well?
So if you are considering the point of view of a contributor, then I will say, before making any contribution, just read what the project recommends. Like, there are always a conduct of contribution file in any GitHub project where they mention everything from scratch, like to fork to making a PR, how they want you to make a PR. There are conventions, there are naming conventions for a PR always, how you should name a PR. Like if there is a feature request you are working on, maybe the project, like in the application, we use feed for that, FEAT for feature. And for a docs contribution, we use is DOCs. So these are something which you should mind of, like how the naming convention was. Just go through that file, follow that, and you will not encounter a single error in that before going further.
Great, Saurav. Thanks for mentioning that point as well. So yeah, that's cool. Like we just talked about open source and how to contribute, what are the best practices. And yeah, like let's talk about learning in public, like how you just started your Twitter journey, how you just started creating content, how it actually helped you. So let's talk about that journey.
Yeah. So I started making content on Twitter in June 2021 itself. So I remember the date. It was 27 June 2021 when I wrote first ever technical thread on Twitter, and it went viral. It was about machine learning projects. So my friend Pratham introduced me to the tech Twitter, and I started exploring things over Twitter, and I found it very interesting how people share things, and they just did it because they love to share content and they love to help the community. There is nothing like nothing catchy here. So I think I can also do this, and I love the concept of helping people from my college life itself. So in my college life, I have been into community activities itself. I have been campus ambassador for many projects, and I have been mentor for open source projects as well. So this is something I love to do already. So I think I can do that. So I started making content over the things I have learned in my past, and it was loved by people unexpectedly very much. They love the way I write, and they love the way I share things. I share programs, I share code, I share my GitHub link of the projects. So they liked it. They liked my threads. So I continued making content over this. I think there's 1 year and 2 months till now. I have been doing it regularly till now. So it helps a lot personally as well to remember things. For example, you are a beginner, you are learning recursion, and just imagine if you are sharing it on Twitter as a technical thread or writing a blog, even a small blog. You are making yourself more comfortable with the concept, more comfortable with the logic, and you are revising the whole thing and writing it by yourself in your words. And whenever you got stuck in any period of time, like after 5 years, even you forget what the tail recursion is and you want to revise that, and you have a blog written by yourself, you can just go through it and it will take 2 minutes to revise you.
Yeah,
So it helps a lot personally to learn in public, and it has a lot of benefits when you share things with the community which is giving some value. I always say that give community some value and expect the unexpected result. So when you share things without any greed, and so people helps you, actually helps you. You got following all over the globe, you got noticed by all over the companies which are getting funded or got funding, are looking for some technical writer or maybe a freelance, or maybe some paid projects, or maybe a developer job which for the thing you're sharing. And you probably will be the best candidate out there because you have a public profile and you have the proof of your work on your Twitter profile, on your blog platform, on your videos. So you always is in the front of line if there is 10 people and with the same skill set, and you just have a public platform and have a nice following over there. So it helps a lot. I'm not saying that this is the only way you can get a remote job or you can get this is
yeah, yeah.
not I am saying, but this makes a difference. This helps you to get through the process. This helps you in getting making connections with very good employers, and this makes you to get an interview call uh, very easily. This makes you to get some extra side income with the doing your job. So this is how learning in public helps you.
That's really true, Saurav. And I've just started with YouTube, like creating videos, and you just started with writing threads on Twitter. So yeah, like whatever maybe the thing that you just learning, just share it in public, whether it can be blogs, videos, threads, or let's say any kind of short clips. It actually helps not only for the people, it actually helps you. Like even I'm just feeling like I've just created around 100 plus videos on Python, like all the libraries like pandas, numpy, etc. So
Amazing.
yeah, like even now when I just start on any kind of concept, so actually I have already learned that. So it would be
Mhm.
easy for me to revise my own by watching my own videos, so by watching my own content. So yeah, that definitely helps. So yeah, that's like what you just mentioned. It apart from learning by yourself, it will just help the community, and you will get recognized.
Exactly. It helps a lot personally as well.
So yeah, you have been working remotely for a 6 months period, I guess, if I'm not wrong.
Uh, it's really 9 months. Like,
Okay, cool. 9 months. So
yeah.
what are some like what you just find like about the remote work? What's the culture? So
Hmm.
yeah, let's talk about that.
I will not say to fantasize the remote job. It's something you should get know about first, and then you should decide whether a remote job is for you or is not for you. So I will start with some advantages. So obviously you don't have to travel to the office. You save that time. You are not expected to work in the mornings or in the office time only. You will have a like a window of period like where you have to attend the meetings, and rest is on you. Whenever you have time, you can work. uh, there are some disadvantages as well. Like you will sometimes you can feel isolated in the remote job culture. Your work life balance will get ruined. Actually, sometimes it totally depends on you. Like if you can maintain it. If things get messed up, it can get messed. Like sometimes you will have a never ending workday life. When you are doing work at night whenever you feel like to. So there is no time of ending the work day. Actually, you can also work in night. For like my example, my bed is right there. This is my room. This is my workspace. So this is my work and personal life. So some days I have a day of work which ends at 12 a.m. in night or 1 a.m. in night, and some days I totally don't work for a full day. So this can happen. Like you can have a messy schedule. It's totally on you. You can get unfit as well if you are if you are
True,
a
true.
person like me who don't love to go outside your home. Then you can obviously get very unfit, and you have to maintain that as well. You can feel lonely sometimes. There I am mentioning I'm not saying remote work is very bad, but I am mentioning the disadvantage because no one mentioned it
Yeah, yeah,
anyway.
true.
So I am letting you see the other side of remote culture. So you can feel lonely if you have worked all life working with someone from your team to be in a room full of engineers and talking with each other. You will miss this surely a lot when you are working remotely, whether you will have a coffee chat, whether you will have anything. But physical contact, like with
True, true.
each other, talking with each other, have hanging out here and there, you will miss out these things. So this is something you will miss out in remote culture.
Yeah, thanks for mentioning that points as well. And so we have been talking all about remote work, open source, everything. So it's been pretty amazing discussion, Saurav. So anything that you just want to say finally to audience about your experiences, what you just learned in this 2 years, or like from your work experience. So anything you just want to share uh, to the one who is just watching this video.
So yeah. So what I have learned in my professional life is always listen first. So you can maybe the best engineer out there in the world, but it's in your mind and it's in your bubble. So you are making some mistakes. Admit that, and you are not supposed to do everything right. Don't burn out on that. You can simply say no if you don't know things, and you can ask for help from your seniors. You are supposed to do that. No one will say how much you don't know. You don't know that simple thing, and no one knows everything. So admit these things. This will help you a lot in your personal life. Take feedbacks very positively. I personally say when I joined Application, I got some feedbacks from my manager, from my CEO. And in the starting, I find it very hard to process the feedbacks because I never worked professionally
Yeah.
previously. And I thought in my mind that this is something I am very good of, but I improved a lot in those things. My writing since then has improved a lot. My speaking since my appearance, my actually my blogs and my Twitter handle, you can see the threads as well. It has improved a lot after I got feedbacks and I worked on them. So note feedbacks, work on them. It will make you a lot more professional and very good in your work. It's for you only.
That's some of the cool points, Saurav. Like really amazing. Thanks for mentioning that. And yeah, like we are just talking about learning in public. So even you can just share what you just like your learnings from this video. You can just take a screenshot. You can just post it on your Twitter or let's say LinkedIn. You can just share what you just learned in a thread. So you can just do that as well. So even that is learning in public. You can just start with that. So yeah.
Exactly. I will love to retweet all of your tweets. Please do that.
Yeah. So yeah, it's been really amazing, Saurabh, talking to you. You just shared really amazing points regarding open source and like the beginners who just want to contribute to open source. So yeah, I hope it is useful for the one who are just willing to get into open source and just explore this new thing. So yeah, thanks for mentioning that. And also, so yeah, thanks for joining.
Obviously, thank you so much for inviting me. And everyone, please give Sumant a follow on Twitter and subscribe to his channel. He is an awesome data science writer, I will say. He is making videos around data science for very long. So give him a follow, guys.
Thanks for the shout out, sir.